Welcome to the True Elegance Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bunmi Akinkugbe, also known as Dr. B. Through solo episodes and guest sessions, we delve into the timeless qualities of style, grace, and sophistication, and uncover what makes you truly elegant. So, sit back, relax, and let's get started on this empowering journey of becoming truly elegant.
Amen.
All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. It's like an open forum discussion, girl chats, purpose chats, which I'm never tired of. So we're just gonna freestyle it and nothing scripted. And as other people come on board, they'll join us in the conversation today. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And hi everyone, I'm Dr. B, your true elegance sister. And every day, I just keep thinking about the concept of true elegance, and it keeps getting clearer and clearer. And it's a combination of true character from the inside, confidence based on Godfidence, not of our own selves, but of the grace that God gives us. And boys, elegance, stepping out and radiating that true elegance that comes out from your inside. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in just the clothes you wear, the hair you put on, your makeup, your earrings. But when you step in the room, there's a presence you bring into the room. And whether you like it or not, people can feel it. And my hope and desire is that any room we step into, we're able to carry the essence, the fragrance of the God-given talents and gifts that God has given us. And today I have with me my friend and my sister. She's not a guest. And, our paths crossed a couple of years ago, and every once in a while we've been in touch. I see you through your programs and your purpose journey, and I really love and celebrate you. So welcome, Trella.
Thank you, Dr. B. Always a pleasure. Good to see you.
Yes. So for the people that don't know you, can you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to us. You're going to be so richly blessed. God is in this space. My name is Trella. I'm originally from Cameroon. I am currently a technical project lead with Train Technologies. So we build HVAC systems, thermostats and all. So we're keeping you cool or keeping you warm.
I love it.
I have a background in electrical engineering. Also full-time stay-at-home mom. These are just some highlights.
Yes.
My journey so far. I'm a mom of 3. I'm married. I have 3 sons. And I think I am just beginning to come into purpose, as in finding identity and really embracing it and not shying away. So thankful to be alive and excited for what God is doing.
Amazing. I love it. And that yellow looks fabulous on you, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes. So, speaking of purpose journey, many times in our lives, for many of us, it's unclear. Like some days it's clear, you're like, oh yeah, I found my purpose and I'm running with it. And then some days you're like, oh my God, like, am I really on the right track? What am I doing? And sometimes you want to step away and shy away and just go back into hiding, like, why am I even stressing myself about all these things? Let me just be who I am and let it go. What are your thoughts about that?
I think the key word in it is journey. You find out certain things based on from where you're born, what you were taught, what you learn. If God is already involved in your life, or how much you've let Him come in and lead and direct, it will change. It will look different. It will ever. I don't think you really have much control over it, because there's just misery on the other side of not, hustling to be clear about it, to get an understanding of what that is. God is so intentional, regardless of if we have relationship with Him or not. We're all formed for a purpose. So We might be in different spaces. We might be looking, we don't even know, maybe looking in the wrong spaces, in the right spaces, still not clear about it. But it is so fundamental. It is embedded in us. And it is just something that we will always be defining. A little bit of mine, I've seen a big shift in what I'll call purpose journey for myself. We're coming from a family, education was important. We went to school, we got the degree. So purpose was kind of defined and tied around education and career. But having gotten to that space where the career part was supposed to happen and it didn't happen for me, that opened up another story. You know, I had to find myself. And in that space, I got to really, you know, lean more onto God to understand, well, if this life is not about doing education and having a career, what is it about? So in finding him in that space, you know, he started giving me new speakings, new identity. Nothing really changing in the outside, but just showing me a different me, or the me that I am that I did not know, that I was not focused on. And then there was that. And then all of a sudden, I think I know who I am. I think I know what he's called me for, what I'm ready to do. That's like 10 years ago. And I write all these things down and I'm about to take off. 10 years later, it feels like we're just now coming to the, you know, starting point. So it's just more of that growth in him. It's a safer space. Like in him, you will find it. It will get clearer. But there was no loss in the time. You think that you're in the weeds and all, because it's just a journey. It is a journey. It's a process. You cannot appear at it. I don't think so.
Wow, I love that. And it's true, you know, it's a journey and it's a process. Welcome, Pat. Good to have you on board. Yeah, I like what you talked about it, you know, the journey part of it, because until we leave this earth, we're gonna keep walking in that purpose, fulfilling that purpose, evolving in the purpose. And if we can open our mind up to that, then we know that wherever we are at this point is just a point in the long road map. And it continues. Like, we don't have to get to a point where we feel we've arrived and everything is perfect, because it seems to me like evolving and knowing better and learning from our past, applying it to the present, and trusting God for the future of what that journey will be. You know, recently I came across a saying that said something about, we live life forward, but we understand it backwards. You know, I don't know who said that quote, but it kind of made sense to me, because if you're waiting to know what is going to happen tomorrow, then you're going to be wasting today, because in that anticipation, you're not doing what you're supposed to do today. But when you step out in faith and do what you can today, knowing that tomorrow is going to be okay, and what you're doing today is part of the purpose and the journey for tomorrow, then you live today at your best. But then when you look and when you think through the occurrences and the things that happened maybe in 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, now you understand that, okay, it was all part of God's plan to bring you to where you are today. And that prompts you to make the best of today, so that when you look back in 5, 10 years time, you can know that, okay, I did the best I could at this point in time, and it's all making sense and getting clearer for tomorrow.
And like the waiting, I agree with you completely. That will always be, until we leave this earth, there will be more, because God has put himself in us, but we'll keep growing in that. We will not fill it up in our lifetime. So, and once you do, there's always more. He told, I think it was Joshua, he said, I'll give you this land in bits and pieces, because there's if I give it to you at once, wild animals are going to come into it. So there's so much we don't know. There's so much assigned to us, but he's so intentional about not overwhelming us, the people who are called to be blessed by what he's called us to do. He's intentional about us not destroying that also, that he gives us, you know, just what we can be effective in and efficient in. And even if we miss it, he uses everything. Like, his mercy is so great. He works it together So there's just that gap in it. And I agree, like, to take another step, take a step. I think I heard you recently, like, which was take a step, Trella. While you're waiting, yeah, sometimes you have to wait. But in the season I'm in, what he was telling me is like, while you're waiting, if you're missing it, there's mercy for it.
Exactly.
But it's there that I need to take, do this thing he's telling me to do.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. Do you have an example of an experience?
Absolutely. So let's see. About when I went back to work, in 2019, my family was in Oklahoma at the time, and I started this job in North Carolina, and we were all gonna move. My family was gonna move to North Carolina, and about 10, 11 months into my job, my husband said he didn't think that was a good idea. Like, the family won't move to Oklahoma. And that was hard for me. Actually, I thought, like, well, I guess we don't have a marriage anymore, Because Dr. B had been out of work for a while, and then getting but being in the place of prayer during that season, a prayer of fasting, time of fasting and prayer, I had the Holy Spirit tell me to agree with him. It didn't make any sense. I had no offices in Oklahoma, and I did not know how being out for 10 years, coming back under a year, another company was going to give me a chance. It had been only rejections leading on to that. So by hearing God say, agree, I mean, we both went to school in Oklahoma. We moved back to Oklahoma from Atlanta. That was a struggle for me. I wouldn't have picked Oklahoma after, leaving Oklahoma. So there were things around Oklahoma that made it look like, I think he's getting it wrong, But God said to agree. And I moved back, and I did not understand. I was going to put in my 2 weeks notice on my job. And that same day, the executive assistant at the office had told me that we were going to move to another office. They didn't have enough space for everybody. So they put some people on the work from home list. This is before COVID.
Okay.
My name was on that list. So I just began to see the supernatural power of God, like, him leading, you obeying, and him doing what you consider impossible, because all what I knew at the time was there's no way I was going to continue in this job being back in Oklahoma. We have no offices here, nobody. I already have an advantage working out of North Carolina with the team in New Jersey. That was already a favor from them. But moving back, I just saw God move in terms of the organization accommodating me. Not that I asked for it, but something happened within their office setting. They put me on work from home. And when my team struggled with that for a few weeks, COVID had now happened. And then we were all shutting down, because I got feedback like a hardware engineer cannot work from home, especially if she's just coming back. Then all of us got to work from home. Then it became clear, like, well, even hardware engineers can work from home.
Exactly.
And next thing we know, they're giving every one of us $5,000 to set up our home offices.
Wow.
All God did was give me an opportunity to be home for my kids again, as I'm home with them. We're working this time. When they leave for school, I'm here. When they come back, I'm here. I didn't say that. I didn't know what you were doing. I knew he was just putting a knife in me, making me come back to Oklahoma. But I look back and I can only praise him for that move. And so many other things have come out from it. So, yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, And if you didn't take that step of faith or be sensitive and listen to what God was saying, it probably wouldn't have worked out. And who knows, maybe you still be out of job. Yeah, that's awesome. So, another aspect that usually comes to me when we talk about purpose is the gifts and talents that God has given every one of us. And, you probably have heard me say it before, but the purpose-driven life book and the concept of shape in that book is something that just has stuck with me. And any chance I get, I bring it up, I talk about it again. And basically, it's SHAPE is an acronym. So SHAPE. And I'm sure you remember that, but I'm going to remind you of it right now, where the S stands for your spiritual gifts, everything that we are and all that we are, it starts from our spirit being, because we're spirit beings before we're human beings. And God has put various kind of gifts in our life. And the H stands for our heart, things that we're passionate about and we love to do. The A stands for the abilities, things we can actually do. Sometimes you can be passionate about some things and not be able to do it. Like some people, maybe you really like to act or you like to sing, but your voice is not there yet. You have to work on it, or work on your stage presence and your acting. So, but there's some things that you have the ability to do. Like some people can talk, step on any stage, speak for 1 to 2 hours, and they're not tired of it. Some of us, we have to be like, oh, do I really, really have to? Do I really, really have to do this talk? But some people, it's just natural. It comes to them, and that's where the abilities fall in. And then P is our personality, which ties into all those attributes too. Some folks are quiet and reserved. Some people do things maybe on a routine basis, like maybe 4 a.m. I have to be awake, 5 I'm at the gym, 6 I'm joining a prayer line, 7 I'm off to work, 8 blah blah blah, I come back, this is what I do. Some people are routine like that. Meanwhile, some people are sporadic, like okay, today I'm going to do this, I'm going to climb Mount it's in my mind and everything. And our personalities come through. Some are quiet and reserved. Some are more bold and step out there. Some, our personalities can be different. And one thing I've realized, and let me talk about the last one, the E is our experiences. So that's where shape comes in, our spiritual gifts, our heart, abilities, personality, and experiences. And experiences can be both positive and negative. You just shared an experience with us about your family and your career move and moving in line with purpose. Sometimes some experiences are bad, like losing a job, losing a loved one. But the basic thing is those experiences too are part of our life to shape us and help us in our journey as we go through it. So, with all that being said, because of that, I see that uniqueness in the world around us. And, I just always want to encourage women, men, children, whoever it is, to not try to be like someone else. There's just something unique and special about you. And I see this every day. So, like, I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. And even though they're being raised in the same home, in the same environment, you can see their uniqueness shine through in each and every one of them. And as parents, our goal is not to make all of them be the same person. Our goal is not to make all of them be like us or like our significant other or like our father. Some people will be like, oh, you look like my dad, so everything you're doing has to be like him. No, but to be able to see those unique gifts and talents that God has put into them and help them to be able to embrace it, polish it, become a better version of it so that they're fitting into the bigger picture of what God has for their life. I see this too, in my office, when I work with my colleagues, I see the person that is more empathetic than another, the person that doesn't want to talk to anybody. But you just have to work with them. And I see it at church too. I'm a member of my choir, and in the choir, I see various talents and gifts. Some can sing some special flavor, some high pitches and everything. And many times it's almost like we want to be like the other person and we forget everything that God has put in us. And that is just really sad, because then we're missing out on the special flavor that you get to add to the world. And if all of us are like Trella, then you'll be missing out on Bunmi and Pat that is on the line. And let me see who else is here with us today. Welcome. Yay, Kezia. And I want to see all you guys on camera. This is a girl chat, and we just want to have an amazing time together talking about real things. But welcome. And I say in the chat that Pat put there that the Purpose Driven Life book is the best book that everyone needs to read. I couldn't agree more. And she said she's been reading it with her kids. That's amazing. And
nice.
She's also working on being authentic and unique. Yes. And I remember the book we co-authored, Pat, the Living Boldly book. My chapter was about uniqueness, hers was about authenticity. So just brings back beautiful memories. But I'll turn it back to you, Trella, and anyone else that wants to chime in the chat, feel free to let us know how the conversation so far is resonating with you.
Yeah. So you're speaking, and I'm just seeing pictures of everything that you're saying, and it's really key, that whole separating yourself from wanting to be another person. I think that you really begin to live life when you just want to be yourself. Like, you don't want to be another person. And it's just knowing. And I really got that from the first Unique Me conference you did 5 years ago. I always talk about it because I've been confused for the longest time. I would listen to people sound like they're already saying everything that needs to be said. There's nothing new. If we work on this, like, that was my feeling. Everything is out there. Everybody's already doing what needs to be done. So who cares? Where does Trella come in? And that conference in particular, earlier that day we had been in one conference already, and God has spoken to me because I was thinking about I was struggling in that space, and I asked him, like I said, before I formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. I'm sorry, I use a lot of scriptures because I just live there. Before I formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. And for the first time, I asked a question. I asked God a question: who was I, or who am I? Because I didn't think the person I was, or had been, or I'm seeing myself in, was that person was talking about. There's no way. But I didn't know what he meant, or who. I just had to ask that question. And I'm so thankful for that unction, or whatever that was, that made me ask that question, because what I heard back was the word strong, which made me laugh. Like, wow. No, ridiculous. How am I strong? I am falling apart here in every way possible. Everything is overwhelming. Family, just everything, name it. I'm just barely waking and getting out of bed. So that was Shell. And just coming into the conference, also having that feeling and talking about being unique, I also thank God for the bonus to put my hand up in that room, because for the longest time, I used the fact that I was not working to be small. The fact that I was a stay-at-home mom, not by intention. I just used it to mean that I should be silent. I shouldn't talk when professionals are talking. That's, I don't have anything to contribute to it. But somehow in that room also, I asked a question that day about same thing. Why should I? What is there to be said? What is there to be done? Everybody's already saying everything. And I remember you and the speaker, and both speakers, like everybody addressing that and talking to the fact that nobody will ever say it like you do. Right. Nobody will ever do it like you do. And all coming to just that shape thing. Right. The spiritual journey is unique. My heart is just mine. Right. My abilities, it's unique. My personality, my experiences. So even some other person has the same spirituality, personality, ability, like me. Our experiences are not the same. Exactly. Even with my brother growing up in the same house, our experiences are not the same. Exactly. So just being able to embrace that and knowing, like, because I am unique, because this fingerprint is not the same as this one, and there's a reason they captured this, I cannot cheat others of what I was sent here for, because there's a reason that uniqueness exists. There is purpose. So waking up to that every day, just keeping it in my mind, reminding myself, when my mind wants to tell me I have nothing to offer, I'm like, no, absolutely not. There's something to be said for my own experiences. There's something to be said for, my journey. There's something to be said for my abilities, So I'm making that effort to embrace that. And a funny story, talking about even children in our home and them being different.
Mm-hmm.
We had a shadow come into the office. I think it was yesterday. It was on the
Okay.
wall,
Mm,
and I'm making a video of the shadow on the wall.
wow.
So my husband thinks that's crazy, right? He's sitting right there, but I'm making a video. Our youngest son walks in, he says, "Oh, that's cool." My husband laughs and he sits down. And then the middle one walks in immediately. So what are you doing? So same kid, same household,
Exactly.
same everything. Walk
Exactly.
into the same thing, different approach, different reaction to it.
Hmm.
So we have to give them the space. And I really agree with you what you're saying, where we bring out what is in them, not to fit what we want them to be, who we think they should be or look like us, but know what's that stuff that's in there and kind of help them nurture it or partner with God to bring it up with them and even the people around also. I really like that, the whole that awareness of it. It makes you leave everybody you meet in your home, at work, grocery store, it doesn't matter. It makes you leave them with hope, it makes you leave them, at least me, with that awareness, like, please don't think that you don't have anything to offer, because I've been there and I know, and people tell me about the difference that I make. I didn't used to think like that. So imagine what's locked up in you. So it's in everybody, and every time we get a chance is to give that word of, hey, do not believe that lie. You have so much to offer. You're here for a purpose. There's something only you can do. And it's as significant as whoever you consider the most significant person in the world and what they're accomplishing is doing. That's how significant your own part is. So uh, let's keep growing in that.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. And I just want to piggyback on one thing you said about the noise around us. And some of it is good noise. So if I ask most of you on the call right now, like, how many people do you follow on Facebook or Instagram? I'm sure it's nothing less than 100, for some 200, 500 people that you're following on Instagram or Facebook. And like each of them has something to say, but when you honestly think to yourself, like, how much of that can you just keep absorbing and imbibing every day, and how much of it are you applying into your everyday life? I just think there are times when we have to do an audit of what we're listening to, what we're putting in ourselves. And in another recent podcast I was listening to, when we talk about influencer and all those things, all of us are influencing people wherever we find ourselves. But the greatest form of influencing is when you're living a life of impact and you're seeing that impact in other people, and it's also reflecting back to yourself. Some people get influencer status by just being, because I'm Bunmi, I'm an influencer and follow me and do everything. But, our life of influence should go beyond just who we are, but more about whose we are. We're God's children. And then what has He called us to do? What impact are you making? Whether it's primarily in your home, which is your primary duty, but when you extend it to work, to the community, to places where God has put you at every point in time, what is that impact you're making? Because that is what will live beyond you when we're no longer here. If we just lived because we are, then it'll be easy to forget about us. But if you've made a positive impact in someone's life, they will continue to remember that, and then talking about you will also be part of it.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
remember what Pat did. I remember what Kenny did. I remember what Trella did. I remember how maybe they helped me to work in my purpose, helped me to get a job, helped me to my children to do this and that. And that is what is worth it in the long run, beyond just the fame and popularity of we wanting to be out there. My goal is to work with, as many people as possible to start building yourself up from the ground up, working in that purpose, getting better, improving, so that at some point, we've all grown and evolved from where we are, not because we were just following people or looking at other people, but because we were depositing things in ourselves to make us people of value in the future. And that comes in various forms, whether career-wise, spiritual journey-wise, intellectual-wise, impact-wise, and it just takes focus and commitment to continue doing that.
So I have a question for you. So in this space of social media and everything else, I believe a lot of stuff is way through that aspect, what's seen. Do you think there's impact? Do you believe that there's impact that's not without noise or without spotlight?
The glam, yeah. I believe so, because there are many people I've met who are not on social media and they're making a positive impact. You get what I mean? So we're just in an age where, social media is part of it. And I'm not against social media. Like, you see me on social media. Sometimes I wonder, what am I even doing here? But I believe those are the checks and balances that keep us on track to be able to make sure that we're not being carried away by the glam and the glitz, and we're still committed to the core of the purpose of who we are. That at the end of the day, it's the impact that counts. So while I've been on social media, I have no regrets about it, because I've been able to connect with some people that I probably wouldn't have met maybe in my day-to-day life or my career or anything, or in my neighborhood. But because of that connection I've had with them, they've been able to make an impact in my life, and I've been able to make an impact in their life. So I think it always comes back to sitting down with yourselves and asking yourself that question, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I on Facebook? Why am I on Instagram? Why am I on Twitter, or whatever it is? Is it just for the glam and the glitz, or is there a purpose behind it? And I believe that's where having an accountability group comes in as well, that can put you in check and say, hey, Trella, what's going on? I think you're deviating from the core of who you are, and having that possibility to be able to listen and learn from it. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I think you nailed it right there, like asking your own self, right. Why am I doing this? Like knowing your why. And if you're true to yourself, you're not having a mask on, then we're in purpose, and we're just with God where we're supposed to be. So
beautiful. And I just want to open it up to Pat and Kenny on the call,
Hi.
Hello.
I said, nice to meet you all. My name is Kenny, and just two things to add to the discourse about like finding purpose. I totally agree. That book is great, Purpose Driven Life. I have read it. I think one thing I haven't done is to go through it with my kids, like the person that commented has done. I think it would be a good book to like go through with the kids, to like, yes, they can read it, but like go through with it and kind of like get feedback and direct them, because it was a book that really helped me as well. Then there's this book also about that Miles Monroe wrote, I think, Plan and Purpose of Woman.
Okay.
That also, really helps in terms of where so many things rolled in one, like you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a daughter, you're a sister, you're a friend. And we all, like, I know we have that like God-given purpose, but our purpose, we serve it in different roles. Let me put it that way. And I also want to just say that purpose also has seasons. So if you look at the life of Jesus, Jesus was someone that knew his purpose. And going through the Gospels recently with my kids, we'll just come and be like, this Jesus guy. He was always like silencing the Pharisees. And there are times like he will comment on people, there are times he will like really give it hard, like a no nonsense. And he knew what he was about. He knew what his purpose was, And there was no time people come and ask him, are you the Son of God? Who are you? He would tell them, I'm the bread of life, I'm this. But even from when he was small, I'm talking about purpose having seasons. Like, yes, this is my purpose, but there's a season to it. So he was still with his dad, being a carpenter's son, then there was a time he now actually came out. I remember when he wanted to perform the miracle of turning water to wine, he told his mom, like, my hour is not yet come, woman, like he understood his season. So that's kind of like relating it to like our different roles, being a mom, wife, daughter, and all that. Like as our kids are growing, like just in the cycle of life from childhood to adolescence to like launching them out, we have that up. There's that season to be like mommy, then there's the season to be like when they are teenagers, how you relate with them, which comes back to like this going through this book with them, especially when, they're like teenagers and like launching out, into the world. Right. Then the second thing, she was just touching on something, yes, about social media. I just wanted to add is that I remember we had a program in my church. This must have been around maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And we invited a pastor. Now, Bunmi, you would know because you know him well, Pastor Bade. Oh, and yeah. I remember when he came for that program, it was our church anniversary. Okay. So the first thing he said, I think it was supposed to talk about maybe evangelism. I can't quite remember what the topic was that year. But the first thing he said was that he was surprised that he didn't see it on Twitter. He didn't see us going on Instagram. I can't remember. I remember I said Twitter, Facebook, like, what did we think the Bible meant when he said, like, Jesus would come, like the gospel would have gone round. So we know, like, it's social media that would do that for us, just because this is like science, technology era. So, if you don't follow that era, you would like be behind. Like who is using CDs really these days? Like when you have MP4s. So right. Technology is advancing and we're advancing that line. So he said, put your next program, make sure it's there, advertise it all around. Just because from what Trella says, it's not like you're there because you want to make money. There are people on social media whose goal is to make money, but if you have that purpose and you know that this is the message you're putting out, it's not about the numbers, but if you're clear on what your purpose is, social media is such an important tool these days that we cannot do without it. I'm not really on social media. When you were saying followers, maybe like, I don't have many followers on Instagram, honestly, and I'm hardly on Facebook. I think, like you said, it's the purpose behind it. What is the reason why you are there? And staying focused to your purpose or your ministry, just like Jesus was. He was so consistent everywhere he went. I am this, this is what's, and was going about doing good and, having impact on people's lives. So just a few points I wanted to add on those two topics we talked about. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, Kenny. I love that reminder about seasons, and that is so important because for each person, and that's why we can't really play the comparison game, because I can be in the season 4 of my life and you're at season 2 or season 10. There's no way we can be at the same level, and when you try to operate in someone else's season, then you're going to burn out or run out of purpose or vision, and you're not going to be happy about it. So definitely understanding the importance of seasons is very important, and also being a blessing to others when we have gone through a season, made it successfully through that, and be a blessing and an impact to others. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you all for being on this live today. It's been amazing. And thank you for all those who've been here. This will be back. Watch out for the next invite. Feel free to come back, invite a friend, and I would love us to continue these conversations. And, when you look at it in a year, 2 years' time, I'm sure we would have seen some growth and, testimonies and advancement that we share as we continue to walk this purpose-driven life. So thank you for being here today. Be sure to subscribe so you'll be the first to be notified of every new episode. Leave a review and share this podcast with that elegant lady in your life. This is a space where we can come together to empower and inspire each other and live feeling elevated and enlightened. See you in the next episode.